Hello, my name is Sonia. I'm from your town. I'm the Parent Line Community Engagement Officer. Today we're going to be talking about the transition from primary to high school from both the parent perspective and the child perspective. And we're going to be talking about the relationships between children and their parents and carers and the connection that can be involved with that communication and relationship. It's a really important stage. It can be very stressful for both the child and parent when they're transitioning into high schools. And also it's just even the opening of that age, the adolescence, teenage age, can be very challenging for both the child and a parent to navigate through. So today I have Kim. She is the Parent Line Manager, and I've also got the lovely Georgia, who is the Kids Helpline at Schools Program Manager. So first of all, I just want to, I suppose, give the indication that this is a time for children to really grow their independence. So Kim, from the parent perspective, how would you sort of give some advice around that communication and that connection between the parent and child?
I think it's kind of really important to talk about like what should be happening at that age. What should be happening, there's a heap of different transitions that are happening for adolescents, for your kids at that age, from, like we were talking about, transitioning to high school, the different kind of peer changes, their little bodies are exploding. Hormones are going off, sort of biological level. There's a heap of things going on from a cognitive level, a heap of changes are going on in the brain as well. So I think it's important to kind of just talk about it in a really kind of logical way as well. Our kids are designed. They are designed to kind of seek out independence from us as their parents. And they're designed to do it at that age. It's an interesting kind of process, I think, because for parents, we have been, the most important thing in our children's lives since the day that before they were born. So I think it's important to kind of understand that, we're not going to be for a little while, right? We're not going to be, because their peers will become a lot more important. Heaven forbid you bring in kind of romantic relationships into as well. So much kind of transition is going on at that point in time. And I think it's really important for parents to kind of just take a moment and actually look at how that is really making them feel, because that can be really scary. It can be, there's a bit of grief kind of involved in that as well. And I think that, like, if we really kind of look at it, there's a bit of sadness. Suddenly then, our opinion is not as important as well. Suddenly they're not telling us everything, they're keeping secrets as well. So that's going to make us feel like kind of sad about that as well. We want to talk about that. We want to understand that that's potentially what's going on, because potentially that's going to affect our connection with them as well, especially if we don't catch how it makes us feel as parents. So really what we really want to focus on is as a parent, how do we balance, our need to stay what we were, to protect our kids, to do all the things that we've done for the previous kind of 13 years, and really balance the support of their independence, the support of, the little emerging identities that are kind of coming out as well. How do we balance those two things? Because we still need to do this. Like, we're still important, even though sometimes we might not feel like that. So balancing that, and really kind of looking at ways that we can get to know our kids within their space and get to let our kids know that they don't have to tell us everything now, that they're going to do things that we might not agree with, but ultimately that we're always here and that we're here when they need us. I think it's really important to kind of, when you need me, I will be here, and I'm going to do my best to not wig out when you don't need me all the time.
Exactly. And I think maybe even looking at everything, children are going to make some decisions that might not always have the best consequence. And I think it's just balancing that as looking at, well, what have you learned from this situation, instead of rather coming down with the hammer, okay, this is their independence, they're learning their own independence and who they are as individuals.
Look, and we can't protect our kids from everything.
Exactly.
Right? We can't do that. That's it's just not realistic. So we want to try and give our kids the best skills as we can, but like you said, we know that adolescents are predisposed to high risk-taking behaviours. They're impulsive, they're emotional, but biologically that's what they're meant to be. It's not just your adolescents, like they're all going through that kind of process as well. So we want to kind of like have those skills, but we also want them to know and to not be afraid and to not have any kind of blocks in between you and them when they do need to reach out.
And I think that's really important that you're putting it as a need as well, because quite often they might be withdrawn from that communication, that connection, but there is that need to still be there and have you there as part of their lives and validating their good choices and responses.
Because when our adolescents are in trouble, they 100% want to be able to come to us. Right? We are the people that they want to be able to come to, and I guess it's about setting up a system where they feel like they can.
Exactly. Yeah. Lovely. Well, thank you for sharing that, Kim. I really appreciate that. I really hope that some of that advice and those little pointers have given you some insight on how you can connect with your young person